Hello guys and welcome to our first MYP masterclass video. So today we're gonna be concentrating on physics, and we're basically just gonna go to the basics of the basics. So we're starting with the first unit, which is where are we in the universe? And well, our lesson today is how can we compare the size of things. So this, well, it's a big number, obviously. Well, that's the whole number of Bogota's area. Now this, it's even a bigger number, and that's the whole Colombia's area. This, even bigger, it's the whole Earth's area. And now this, that's Jupiter's area, which is the biggest planet in the solar system. So, as you can see with these numbers, we are just a small, very small part of the universe whole. And, well, they're trying to investigate the universe, and with the whole technology and stuff, there's been quite some advances on how to see the universe. Yeah? So this, the whole universe as we know it, it's called the observable universe. And the observable universe is basically this we see right here, which there is a bunch of galaxies. The point in the center, that's the Milky Way, which is where the solar system is. And, well, basically this is all we know that exists, or at least theoretically. But you imagine that measuring all this big stuff, that must be like a number with a bunch of zeros. Yep. So how do we measure that? And it's actually pretty simple. So there's something in physics which we call scientific notation. And scientific notation is basically a way of writing very small or very large numbers. So here we have like the basics of scientific notation. And, well, this is the coefficient, and it always has to be in between 0 and 9. In between 1 and 9, sorry. So it always has to be less than 10. And this will always be multiplied like for a base 10. So, for example, if we see here 1,000, it's basically 10 to the 3. Yes, and now, okay, imagine we erase this one and we turn it into a 2,000. So now it would be 2 times 10 to the 3. So hopefully now you get a bit of an idea of how it works, but we're obviously going to see some examples so you guys can understand it better. So let's take some of the numbers we were seeing earlier. This is quite a big number, and, well, we see here that we know that the coefficient has to be less than 10. So what we do is basically move the decimal point all the way over to the number that will be less than 10. In this case, it would be 1.1 if we round to two significant figures. And you guys see that we moved the decimal point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 places. So it will be 10 to the 6, yeah? Because we moved the decimal point to the left. Now let's try that with an even bigger number. So we have this here, and we know that the number that is going to be less than 10 is 6, yeah? So it will be 6.2. So we have first the coefficient, and, well, if we round, it would be 6.2. And then you guys can see that we moved the decimal point to the left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 places. So 10 will be to the power of 10. So that's basically how it works. Now, what if we have like a small number, like a really, really small number? Well, we do exactly the same, but the other way around. So the coefficient always has to be equal or more than 1 and less than 10. So in this case, our number which would be equal or more than 1 would be 5. Yeah, but now the decimal point is on the left. So what do we do? Well, it's actually quite easy. We just move the decimal point to the right. So we move it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 decimal places. But we moved it to the right, yeah? So now 10 will have a negative exponent. And that's basically how scientific notation works. You move the decimal point to the left, and the exponent is going to be positive. You move the decimal point to the right, the exponent is going to be negative. So now let's try with this even smaller number. So the coefficient would be 4.5. Yes, because it has to be less than 10. So here we have the 4.5. And now we have to move the decimal point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 places to the right. Yeah, so the exponent will be negative and it would be 10. So hopefully this gave you guys a little more understanding on how to convert numbers into scientific notation. Here are some practice questions, so you can pause the video and try and do them. I will show the answers in a moment. So here are the answers. And hopefully you got them all right, or most of them at least. And now we move to a part that's a little bit complex, but still it's quite easy once you understand it. So first we'll see how to multiply and divide scientific notation. So here we have two numbers that will be in scientific notation. And basically what you do is take both coefficients and you multiply them. And then you take both exponents and you basically just add them. So it would look something like this. Multiply the coefficients, add the exponents. So that part's pretty easy. And well, what if we divide them? It's actually pretty similar. You take both coefficients, but instead of multiplying them, you have to divide them. And guess what we have to do with the exponents? Instead of adding them, we subtract both the exponents. So it would look something like this. We divide the coefficients and we subtract the exponents. So it's pretty easy from there. We can still do some examples for you guys to understand better. So first we have this number up here, and we'll start step by step. So first step is that we take both coefficients and we multiply them, which would give 8.7. Yes, and then so we're multiplying the scientific notation as a whole, so we have to add the exponents. In this case, 3 plus 8, which would be 11. And remember, guys, that base will always be 10. So now try to do this one on your own, and then I'll give you a little help. So this is the answer. Hope you guys got it right. And well, we'll repeat basically the same process, which is multiplying both the exponents, which would give 2.55. And then we add both the exponents, so it would be 8. So I hope that there we're good. And now we're going to see some division, see how we're doing in that part. So this one might look a bit more complex, but it's actually pretty easy as well. So starting step by step again, you can try to do the first one and see if the answer is correct. But basically, you have to divide 7.8 over 8. and that would give us 0.975. And you have to subtract both the exponents, right? So that would give us 3. But now here's the thing. You guys remember that the coefficient has to be equal or more than 1 and less than 10. And here the coefficient clearly is less than 1. So what do we have to do? Well, basically we just have to move the decimal point to the right. And do you guys remember what happens when we move the decimal to the right? We subtract, yeah? So the final answer, if we move the decimal place to the right, would be 9.75 times 10 squared. So now try to do the second one and see how we do on that part. So this is the answer. Basically, if you divide coefficients, it would give you 0.693, and if you subtract the exponents, it would give you -2. Yeah? But we have, again, to move the decimal point one spot to the right. So, here, we subtract, 1, because we moved it one place. So, it would be 6.93 times 10 to the -3. Here are some practice questions you guys also can do on that part, so you can see how you're doing there. Pausing the video, and I'll show the answers in a second. These are the answers, which I hope you guys got most of them right as well, but if you didn't, don't worry. After all, it's kind of like maths, and you just have to practice it. So now we are going to the second part, which is how to add and subtract. So this one might be a little bit more complex, but if you guys practice it, you'll get it. Don't worry. So when this actually has 2 different rules, and it is when the exponent is the same and when the exponent is different. So here, on the first one, we can see the exponent is the same. So we have the coefficients, which we just have to add, and then the exponents, which are the same, are just gonna remain the same. So this is what it would look like. You can see we add or subtract both coefficients and the exponent will remain the same. Now, what if the exponent is different? And this might be a little bit harder to understand, but I'll try to make it as simple as possible. So, we take both, basically, we take the biggest coefficient and try to make it equal to the other coefficient. So if this is a D, we have to make it a B, right? So it would end up being something like this. And, if you look above, that is just adding coefficients, and the exponents will remain the same. So now let's do some practice so you guys can understand this a little bit better. So here we have a pretty simple addition and subtraction, which they are both with the same exponent. So here we just have to add both coefficients, which would give us 4.4, and this would be times 10 to the 5. So the exponent remains the same. And same here. But instead of adding, we subtract the coefficients. So this would give us 4.1. And, the exponent remains the same, so it will be 5. Now, here are more difficult examples when the exponents are different. So, what do we do first? We take the number with the biggest exponent, which in the first case, it's 1.12 times 10 to the 9. And you guys remember that to subtract from an exponent, we have to move the decimal point to the right. So if we move the decimal point to the right, it would give us 11.2 times 10 to the 8. And now we can see that both exponents are exactly the same. So if we add both coefficients, and it would give us 13.85, and you guys know that the exponent remains the same. But now you guys remember by now that the number cannot be more than 10. So what we have to do here is move the decimal point one place to the left. And remember that when we move the decimal point to the left, we add. So in this case, we moved it just one place. So we add 1 to the exponent, and it will end up being 1.385 times 10 to the 9. Now, try to do the second example, and we'll do it together then. So, well, we'll start with, this is the biggest exponent. So you guys know that we have to modify this for it to become -5. So remember that if we move the decimal point to the right, we subtract. So this will end up being 97.6 times 10 to the -5. And now we have both exponents being the same. So we can just add the coefficients, and then the exponent will remain the same. Now here, the coefficient is obviously more than 10. So now we have to move the decimal point one place to the left. And, well, as we move it one place to the left, we subtract 1. We add 1, sorry. So it ends up being 9.978 times 10 to the -4. Now, here are also some practice questions that you guys can do. So you can pause the video and I will show the answers in a second. Okay, and that's it. I hope it was pretty clear, and I hope this was helpful for anyone who was struggling with this, because it can be a little complex to understand at the beginning. So if you guys have any questions, you can leave it in the comments, and don't forget to share this so your friends can also understand this topic better. Remember, we are going to be uploading on Thursdays, and I'm going to be uploading specifically about physics and maths for anyone who needs help in those subjects. So I'm open to questions, and see you in another video.